I love this Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban. I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch.
You are not allowed to impose, through the government, your religious beliefs on others. That is not what religious freedom is about. That's not what our country rests on.
Yeah.
And as a democracy, we respect other democracies' abilities to self-police and self-regulate. And so this process is underway. Our voices have been heard. Your voice is going to be heard. Obviously, there's international attention focused on this national citizenship registration.
The hearings were supposed to be calm and professional, but the moment Ilhan Omar started talking, it felt like the opening scene of a soap opera: dramatic music, shaky plot, and absolutely no facts holding the script together. Luckily for everyone watching, the witnesses came armed with reality and unintentionally delivered some of the funniest intellectual smackdowns of the week. Before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode of Facts versus Feelings.
Under our Constitution, we are prohibited from establishing religion, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what the establishment
So if you have members of Congress that are legislating laws in accordance with their faith in regards to abortion or LGBTQ or women or any of those things, that should be prohibited within our Constitution.
You are not allowed to impose, through the government, your religious beliefs on others. That is not what religious freedom is about. That's not what our country rests on.
Yeah. For many of us, religious freedom is extremely important. It is life and death in this country. Yes. Many of us fled our countries to come to the United States because that is the one thing that distinguishes us from many countries. But it's also important that we have a secular government and protect people's civil rights and access to those civil rights. And so I appreciate your testimony. Ambassador Wales, as you know, last month I let a letter to Ambassador Juster and Jones with you CC'd on it on the situation of Kashmir. Our partnership with India is strategic, but it's also based on our shared values of democracy, religious pluralism, and the respect of human rights. Under Modi and the BJP government, all of these mutual values have been threatened. And I think we have to understand the situation in Kashmir as part of an overall Hindu nationalism project of the BJP. So my first question to you is about the right of self-determination. Is the United States committed to emphasizing the centrality of Kashmir voices in determining the future of the Jammu and Kashmiri people?
I would disagree with the characterization that we don't have a values-based relationship with the government of Prime Minister Modi. And I would just underscore that Prime Minister Modi came in a consecutive term. He achieved a majority vote in a very diverse
we can agree to disagree on that. I just would like to understand if we are going to centralize the voices of the Kashmiri and...
But just to provide context, I mean, the actions he took were approved in Parliament, including by members of the opposition. The Supreme Court is reviewing that decision. The High Court is reviewing habeas corpus petitions. The institutions of India's democracy are working. We absolutely believe that Kashmiri's voice needs to be heard, that in any restoration, when there is restoration of a of an assembly, when there are state assembly elections, that's the way for Kashmiris to be able to register their views, also in peaceful assembly. And so I think the concern over the restrictions on movement and what we've seen over the last 78 days is that ability to protest peacefully has been difficult for Kashmiris to exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and the part of the reason I asked and the part of the reason I emphasize the context of the larger PGP project is because I think in both cases, the impunity we have seen for crimes against Muslims under the BJP was warming for such worse things to come. In Assam, almost 2 million people are being asked to affirmatively approve their citizenship As my colleague and the chairman said, there have been official statements to the effect that no Buddhist, Christian, Sikh, or Jain refugees need to worry about their status. And so this is a clear anti-Muslim program. And I'm sure you've seen the same reports that the Indian government is starting to build camps in Assam, presumably to hold those who are unable to prove their citizenship. This is how the Rohingya genocide started. At what point do we no longer share values with India? Are we waiting for the Muslims in Assam to be put in those camps?
The certification of citizenship in Assam dates to a 2013 Supreme Court ruling that ordered the government to do so, to address questions of illegal immigration. The process, which continues to unfold and continues to be challenged in the court, it now has 1.9 million people who have not been certified, and that includes both Muslims and Hindus. There are 300 appeal panels that are being set up for those individuals to appeal this determination. And as my colleague stated, we're concerned that many of these individuals who may not have the wealth or the education to successfully be able to document their citizenship are vulnerable. We will continue to watch this very closely, but I would stress that the appeal process is still open. The judicial process is still working in India. And as a democracy, we respect other democracies' abilities to self-police and self-regulate. And so this process is underway. Our voices have been heard. Your voice is going to be heard. Obviously, there's international attention focused on this national citizenship registration.
Omar kicked things off, claiming lawmakers shouldn't legislate based on faith. The witness looked at her like, "Ma'am, that's not how any of this works." It was the type of moment where you expect someone to hand Omar a pocket constitution and say, "Here, try again." The witness calmly corrected her. No yelling, no drama, just the quiet confidence of someone who actually read the document. Omar tried to set up a trap question, and it fizzled out like a dollar store firework in the rain. She wanted the witness to say religious lawmakers should basically be banned from making decisions. Instead, the witness shot the idea down so gracefully it almost felt like she was saying, "Bless your heart." By this point, Omar wasn't just losing the argument, she was losing her storyline. Next up, Omar jumped to the India-Kashmir issue, painting a picture so dramatic it sounded like the trailer for a political thriller. She accused India of nationalism, human rights collapse, and even hinted at genocide, because apparently subtlety was on vacation. But Ambassador Alice Wells? Cool as ice. She calmly corrected every exaggeration without breaking a sweat. Wells reminded her that India's Supreme Court ordered the NRC both Hindus and Muslims were on the list, appeals and courts are active. Democracies don't need Omar playing hall monitor. Every fact she dropped felt like another boom, next moment. Omar's narrative deflated faster than a cheap balloon at a kid's party. When Omar tried her final dramatic line, "At what point do we no longer share values with India?" Wells didn't even blink. She just delivered the line of the day. "We respect other democracies' abilities to self-police." Translation: relax. India doesn't need your dramatic monologue. If that moment had a soundtrack, it would have been a clean mic drop. 2 hearings, 2 attempted plot twists, and 2 times Ilhan Omar got politely, but thoroughly, fact-checked back to earth. If you enjoyed watching the witnesses handle her like someone deflating conspiracy balloons with a safety pin, make sure to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.
This right here is gold. This is where Ilhan Omar was forced by the host to watch President Trump go in on her community of fraudsters.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
That's a depressed face if I've ever seen one. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not letting up on Ilhan Omar. I don't care if this is like the 1 millionth video we're doing. The exposure will absolutely continue until she's denaturalized, put in handcuffs, and put on a plane back to Somalia. Ilhan was on Face the Nation this morning and completely fumbled. She must have thought, okay, CBS News is left-wing. They're not going to ask me hard questions. She was wrong. Yeah, CBS is still a commie news network, but they asked her all the questions and even forced her to watch the clip of Trump talking about her and her fellow Somali pirates who hijacked Minnesota. And you could tell she was uncomfortable, hence why even the left-wing viewers of CBS did not buy any of her answers. I have an extension that allows me to see YouTube dislikes. The video has over 2 times more dislikes than likes. They don't believe her at all. Safe to say she convinced absolutely nobody. These comments are glorious. This guy says she's in pictures with the scammers multiple times. When a fraud interviews a fraud. And they're bringing up the fact that her net worth went up faster than Bitcoin after she got into Congress. She took photos with the ringleader at his restaurant. Here we go.
And we're joined now by Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Margaret.
We have a lot to get to with you, but I want to pick up on where the Treasury Secretary just left off. He alleged that people who were tied to you or your campaign were involved in this broad, brazen scheme to rip off the Minnesota state welfare system. Do you want to respond to that? Do you know what he is referring to?
I really don't, and I don't think the secretary himself understands what he's referring to. We obviously had people who were able to donate to our campaign that were involved. We sent that money back a couple years ago. And actually, I was one of the first members of Congress to send a letter to the Secretary of Ag asking them to look into what I thought was a reprehensible fraud that was occurring within the program.
What a liar. The reason the Treasury Secretary is pinning the blame on you, Ilhan, is because you are the member of Congress that represents that district where all the fraud occurs. You also pushed heavily for these grants to go where they went. You definitely knew. I mean, just look at her face. She's guilty as...
The Biden-era Justice Department called it the largest COVID fraud scheme in the country. And this was pocketing COVID-era welfare funds, more than $1 billion in taxpayer money that was stolen. It was pretty shocking. Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the spotlight being put specifically on your community. Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on
American taxpayers. Oh no, she's going to say the Somalians are the victims.
Somalis, because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also...
You steal more money than you get taxed. You are net negative.
Could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers.
That's a lot of uhs and ums, because she doesn't believe what she's saying.
Really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Mm-hmm. So do you think, though, that there was a failure by the Democratic state government to police itself? This is a brazen, fraudulent activity here.
Yeah, and that is what I alluded to in my letter that I had sent to the Secretary of Ag, was to see where things were going wrong. How can this amount of money disappear fraudulently?
How can no, it's because you're stealing it, Ilhan.
Without there being alarms being set off. And it is something that, we have to continue to investigate. We have to continue to ask those questions.
Because, as you know, one of the initial defenses by the organization at the heart of the fraud, Feeding Our Future, was to claim the probe was due to racism. Do you think that this was all about negligence, or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. Mm-hmm. And that was...
It's the white people's fault. It's always white people, huh? CNN recently said the J6 pipe bomber is white. And you can kind of see where they're coming from just looking at the picture of him, right? Utter ridiculousness.
We do know that when the money was stopped, they did sue. The AG, Attorney General Keith Ellison, defended the department in that lawsuit. It was a judge that said it should continue, that money should continue to go out. And so
it's the white judge's fault, too. It's not the Somalis' fault for committing the crime. It's the system's fault. Okay, now we get why this has so many dislikes. She's really low IQ. What is she saying? This right here is gold. This is where Ilhan Omar was forced by the host to watch President Trump go in on her community of fraud.
The president has been very focused, not just on them, but on you. In this extraordinary cabinet meeting, he said Somalis, quote, come from hell. They complain and they do nothing but bitch. Take a listen.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
That's a depressed face if I've ever seen one. Ilhan's probably thinking, dang, he cooked us. Well, I probably shouldn't say that because she never thinks. And if she does, it's with subhuman IQ.
Vehement agreement from his cabinet members there. I just wonder what the reaction is in your district to have that from the highest office in the land.
It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting. These are Americans that he is calling garbage.
No, Somalis. And they don't consider themselves Americans. They consider themselves Somali first.
And we feel like there is an unhealthy obsession that he has on the Somali community. And
No, it's because you guys are stealing billions of dollars.
Unhealthy and creepy obsession that he has with me. I think it is.
It's because you're in Congress and you shouldn't be. You married your frickin' brother.
Also really important for us to remember that this kind of hateful rhetoric and this level of dehumanizing can lead to dangerous actions by people who listen to the president.
And 95% of the Somalis in your state are U.S. citizens.
Yes.
Therein lies our problem. Everyone wishes they weren't.
What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America? How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes.
Stephen Miller's Jewish.
It reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people.
Wait, Stephen Miller is Jewish, and you're saying he's a Nazi. Okay. I don't know what's worse, saying Stephen Miller is a National Socialist or comparing the Somalis to Jews in Germany. No wonder they're now saying Minnesota is their promised land. They're saying it as a joke, but, you know, every joke has an element of truth in it. The reality is they are taking over Minnesota as if it belongs to them. Well, Ilhan doesn't help herself. Things are only going to get worse from here. Investigators are currently looking into her connections to these fraudsters, and it's only a matter of time before we get a report implicating her criminally. And I'm going to be here to celebrate. Thank you all very much for watching. God bless and goodbye.
This video is for the 92%. For some reason, they don't never get my videos, but I hope they get this one because the onus is on these bitches. After they just saw Umar and her little Somalian people up in Minnesota steal billions and billions of dollars from autistic kids. There ain't no way in hell that these bitches ain't standing up and saying, no, this is a bridge too far. When they know damn well Muslims, because that's who they are, do not agree with Christianity. All that turn the cheek and forgive everybody and accept people as they are and how they come, that's not how they believe. They believe that they're supposed to unalive non-believers, and they never will agree with any LGBTQ policies. So the only reason why they're in the Democratic Party is to do a takeover. It's to do a takeover. And you females act like you don't understand that they shit out more babies than we do. So therefore they know that they're going to have the numbers based on how many kids they have. They shitting them out what they 4 to 6 children, and what we have 2 to 3. They're building their voter block for they could take over the Democratic Party and push y'all niggas out and erase everything that you've ever done. And in the process of doing it, they are claiming that because they're African, of African descent, that the Civil Rights Bill was written for them. That everything that black people have accomplished, they're going to try to say they're the ones who did it. You're seeing the erasure of us when it comes to these African people. But y'all gonna sit back and let them play in our fucking face. Because you're so afraid that, oh, Trump is a racist. No, Trump has been telling you motherfuckers the truth, and the truth hurts. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's time for you bitches to chew up. Chew up. And swallow your motherfucking pride, because you see the Democrats have been destroying our fucking communities. We don't even have a community really anymore because they flooded with so many motherfucking migrants after gentrification. And in most major cities, y'all already know that when they said they tore down all the project housing and they told black people they was going to have first dibs in me and moving back to the city, and then they flooded the shit with a bunch of immigrants. Y'all bitches know that the Democratic Party have been playing in our face, but stealing from children should have been y'all last straw. Don't nobody want to hear nothing from y'all. Don't nobody want to hear nothing from the peanut gallery. No more. Until you guys are asking for some tangibles. Until you done seen all these parades, all these marches, until you guys are asking for some tangibles for the black community, a federal crown act. A federal crown act. Reparations, free college, down payments on homes. Until you bitches get there, you need to be quiet. After you just saw these Somalians stealing from our babies and sending it back to a terrorist group, we gonna need you guys to be the fuck quiet from now on. Because the TDS has been taken too far. Because Trump won't be president the next go around. So you won't have no excuses or nobody to blame. But yourselves. But yourselves. Always looking for somebody to blame when the onus been on y'all all this time. So get with the program or hush the fuck up.
Congresswoman, do you agree with President Trump's assumption that you married your brother to get citizenship? Have you begun packing your bags for Somalia yet, Congresswoman Omar?
Not going anywhere.
So you're not?
No, don't waste your energy on me.
Do you have a message for President Trump?
I will be here probably longer than Trump.
Wait, do you have a message for President Trump?
I'm like a quarter of his age.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say to him?
Some old man losing his mind. I don't know why he's obsessed with me.
Interesting. Well, thank you, Congresswoman.
Yeah, I hope he gets help.
Thank you.
Ilhan Omar, did you consummate the marriage to your brother? Which is worse, immigration fraud or brother fucking? Are there any other relatives you fancy, Ilhan? How did your brother propose to you? All right.
Tax billion waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo. Waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali haddii aan nahay. Wadankan annaga ku nool. Wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye. Waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress-ka fadhiso. Intii aniga aan Congress joogo. Wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan. Wadanka Mareykankana kuma taageerayo dad kaleeta in annaga ayna dhacaan.
Again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that darn money from? Let's go through it. When she first ran for Congress in 2018, she was married to a Somalian man named Ahmed Nur Said Elmi, and she had a net worth of approximately $65,000. Not a ton of money, but $65,000. By 2020, a whole 2 years later, Ilhan had already divorced and remarried another Somalian man by the name of Ahmed Aladizian Herzi, and her net worth was still right around $65,000. Yet just 4 years later, she was divorced and remarried again for a third or perhaps a fourth time. We don't know for sure because Ilhan Omar likely married her brother at one point to get him into this country illegally when she came here from Somalia, which, by the way, is a federal crime, and she's serving in Congress. And nobody talks about this. So by 2024, Ilhan's married to a new person, a white guy named Tim. There's Tim Minette. And Tim is not a rich man, but now he is. Tim's rich now because somehow over the course of the last 3 years, Ilhan Omar's net worth has skyrocketed to over $30 million and counting, meaning she went from having right around $65,000 to $30 million in 3 years. Think about that. Powerball drawing is tonight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Ilhan Omar did not win the lottery. Bernie Madoff was cheating, and he still wasn't doing that well. That is a 46,000% increase in less than 3 years. Now, how do you suppose that happened? Do you really expect us all to believe that she just played the stock market like she's got a great investor and they just got kind of lucky over the course of the Biden presidency? And why are we the only ones asking these questions tonight? So once again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that money, and why is she trying to make Americans feel bad for Somalian criminals?
I don't do liberal jokes at all, so you're good. Don't worry. I don't touch y'all, because y'all are not fucking fun, dude. Y'all are not fun. Some of y'all are mad I just said you're not fun, okay? Like, I don't make fun of y'all, because y'all are sad a lot, too, and I feel bad. I don't know. Y'all like to be sad, I think. I have a buddy up here. I invited him out. I was like, you want to come out tonight? And he's like, I can't, man. Everything going on in the world, it's just hard to even get out of bed. I was like, your dad pays your rent. Like, it's hard to get out of bed because you're in a Tempur-Pedic, brother, okay? You know? $9,000 mattress. You know who the opposite is? I hate to go back to it, but it's rednecks, dude. They'll have the worst life, be happy as hell. I've had conversations almost exactly like this, people in my hometown. I'll just be like, Miss Hayes, I haven't seen you in forever. And the rednecks give you the past 6 months with a smile. Just be like, oh, I was on top of the trailer, right, taking the Christmas lights down. I trip, I fall, I break my damn neck, okay? They take me to the hospital. I got a tumor, stage 3. I got to go on a chemo in 2 weeks, all right? While I'm at the hospital, found out my husband was fucking that hussy down the street, Brenda. You know that bitch at the bank, yeah. And my daughter, Abigail, she got a divorce, right? Lost custody of the kids in the divorce. So when they were coming to pick up the kids, they hit the damn dog in the driveway, killed it. But I am blessed, man. I'm blessed, you know, I mean. The Lord gave me another day, you know. Sounds like he doesn't like you that much. Doesn't sound like he's a fan.